My name is Manuel Garcia, and this is my case study for psychotherapy. My case example is about Doris. Doris comes to a community counseling center at the recommendation of a friend, who expresses concern that Doris intends to leave her child. The friend thinks that she is confused and needs professional help. To give you some background information about Doris, Doris was born and raised in Arkansas. Her father is a reformed alcoholic who drank heavily when the client was a child. Both parents are religious, and the father is described as a strict fundamentalist. Doris has a younger brother who is now an enlisted man in the army and described as the family favorite. She says her parents were stricter with her than their son and emphasized the importance of marriage as well as the woman's dependent and inferior role of the relationship. Doris dropped out of high school in the 10th grade. She worked as a manicurist in Arkansas until marrying and moving to Kentucky 3 years ago. She then worked as a waitress. Her husband says that they have had no fights or arguments during their 3 year marriage, and Doris agrees. 6 months ago, Doris gave birth to a baby boy. There were no medical complications, and she maintains that she adjusted well to the baby. But she reports just not being able to feel much of anything except tired. 2 months ago, she and her husband moved to Houston so that he could join an amateur band. She began working as a cashier at a drugstore. In the course of her work, she began to have a series of brief sexual affairs with fellow workers as well as customers. At the same time, although her husband is happy with the band, he has not been able to find a steady job. He has asked her to try to find a second job or to take overtime hours at her job. Doris is considering leaving her child and husband, although she is uncertain how she would continue to support herself financially. She is also concerned with what happens to her son because her husband has no means of support. She insists that she does not want to take her child with her. Which type of therapy did I choose? I chose reality therapy for my project for psychotherapy. What is reality therapy? Reality therapy is a therapeutic approach that focuses on problem solving and making better choices in order to achieve specific goals. Developed by Dr. William Glasser, reality therapy is focused on the here and now rather than the past. There are 5 basic needs in reality therapy. The first need is power, which includes achievement and feeling worthwhile as well as winning. The second one would be love and belonging, which includes groups as well as families or loved ones. Third, we have freedom, which includes independence, autonomy, and your own space. Fourthly, we have fun, which includes pleasure and enjoyment. And finally, we have survival, which includes nourishment, shelter, and sex. The goal of reality therapy is for the client and therapist to come to an agreement of a plan for the good of the client. The client has to realize what is happening now and what will happen in the future. There are various alternatives to what the client can do, and this choice is up to the client. The therapist can suggest different ways of fixing the problem and point to the client the right way. My techniques. First, I will start off by asking Doris how she's doing and what she feels the problem is right now. I need to get to know her and build a relationship and examine her behavior. Second, I will point out what is really happening in the present and not what has happened in the past. Reality therapy always encourages to work on what is happening right now. Third, I'll point out alternatives to the situation as to how you can face this reality instead of just escaping it. There are always alternatives that will either have a positive or negative effect on the client. Fourth, I will commit to a new plan and examine to client what will result from each alternative. Finally, I give them the directions to what she shall do after her choice. It's important never to get discouraged. You can view my counseling session on YouTube on the following slide on the link, or you can wait for 10 seconds and you'll be able to view it. Thank you. Take a seat, please.
Hello, doctor.
So tell me a little what's going on. What brings you here today?
Well, I'm a mother of one. I've been married for 3 years now and I'm constantly exhausted all the time.
Do you know why you're exhausted? What do you usually do during your day?
Well, at the moment, I'm currently working at a drugstore nearby my house. I just feel like it isn't enough for me. My husband plays for bands, which is the reason why we moved to Kentucky. I know he is happy now, but him not having a job is such a struggle. He even asked me to find a second job or ask for more hours.
Okay, and your son, who takes care of him?
I do everything. When I'm not working, I'm always with the baby. And when I'm at work, my husband does. I just don't know if I can take it anymore. I'm always tired. I don't know if I can support us three. I was thinking of leaving them.
What makes you come to that conclusion? Have you thought of other ways to resolve this? Any other alternatives, maybe?
Not really, but I feel like just leaving would be the easiest thing to do.
Really? Do you love your son? Is that something you would just leave? Live with that for the rest of your life? You have to understand what you're going through right now and realize that there's other alternatives.
Like what?
Do you have family members that you may, point that they can help you out? Maybe your parents?
My parents have always been strict when it comes to marriage. If I told them this was happening, they would never look at me the same way.
Okay, well, you can also ask the government for help. Here I have something. They can help you out with financial needs since you have a son. Also, you can, call the Department of Children and Families. They also help out.
I never knew anyone would actually help though. I want to speak to my mother first and ask her if she can help. If not, I will speak to the government and ask them for some help. Maybe leaving my child wouldn't be the best idea. I love him.
I'm glad you agree. As well as the government helping you out, maybe you can find a new home for your child if you don't really want to, if you can't support him. I want to give you an assignment for today.
Okay.
That you would need to return to me in your next session. I want you to sit down for an hour and write down all the reasons why you should leave your son and all the reasons why you shouldn't leave your son. Also, speak to your mother like you said you would. Maybe she can help. And next session, we'll see what you wrote down and go on from there.
Okay, perfect. Thank you, doctor. I'll see you next week.
All right, thank you so much.
Bye.